Hi, my name is Jackie Doyle and I'd like to welcome you to my garden. Um, so I haven't filmed in a while. You wouldn't have seen a lot of me, all 30 of you who are subscribed to my channel. If you're new here, I'm really pleased to see you. But I haven't filmed in a while and I found it difficult to start again because the vulnerability of filming has to be, you have to practice overcoming it. Because a lot of thought goes into turning on the camera. You know, not only trying to find a nice place in your garden, like this was carefully thought out, having this loveliness in the background, because there's plenty of my garden that doesn't look so lovely. It doesn't mean I don't love it. It's just that it's empty, or the flowers are starting to look a bit ratty, or you're partway through harvesting things. Also, there's just the whole thing of, well, do I have anything worth saying? Is there anything that I can say that is interesting to people? Is it going to help anyone? Because most people don't make videos in order to become rich. They make videos because they think it might help someone. And self-doubt can really hinder you turning on the camera, because you're thinking to yourself, why would anyone listen to that? And for a woman particularly, I think perhaps that's not the case, but I think for a woman particularly it's really hard, because you're like, oh, should I put on earrings? Should I put on some makeup? Should I change my shirt? Should I don't want to wear shorts because I don't like my legs. There's all this sort of extra stuff, this extra pressure that you put on yourself to not show some parts of you that you perhaps are a little more shy about. So I thought I'd make this. Video, I suppose, because there's probably lots of people out there that feel like this, and I guess I just wanted to encourage you and myself, encourage you to do it anyway. Because sometimes it is really hard. Sometimes you have to overcome a lot of self-doubt in order to do it. But what I had to do was actually go back to, well, why did I start doing this in the first place? And the fact is that I wanted to share with people. A couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to live more locally. I wanted to buy food more locally. I wanted to grow some of my own food. I wanted to know where my food is coming from. And in fact, I actually found that really difficult. And although we did a lot of home cooking, it's not like we had to learn how to cook, but we did. Once I started growing things, I had to start learning how to cook certain things, because I was trying to live more seasonally. And that was the other thing I realised. I realised I didn't know what season things grew in, which can be kind of complicated in Australia, in Queensland in particular, because it's so balmy throughout winter. So you're never really sure. But then, it gets really hot in the summer, super duper hot in summer. A lot of the information that we get is American, and obviously the American climate. I mean, the American climate varies hugely. I get that, but it's obviously quite different to the Australian climate. And so I wanted to live more locally. I wanted to learn how to eat more seasonally, and it was really hard to find information. And I actually come from an agricultural background, the mainstream agricultural industry. My family are in agriculture, and I just see this really big disconnect between agriculture, between primary producers and consumers. And I just felt that there was a real us and them mentality. And I just felt that if you could close the gap between the two, if you could close the gap between the people who grow the food and the people who eat the food, then there would be conversation. And conversation is always beneficial. The primary producer would understand what the consumer wants. The consumer would understand how things actually happen. I think there's an unrealistic expectation sometimes of how things grow and how things are produced, how much extra that then costs. You know, if you want specific things, then it costs more to produce, therefore it costs more to buy. So that was what all of this was about. It was kind of this kind of broad sharing of information around the garden, around taking stuff out of the garden, about wasting less food, about where we buy our food, and how we make those changes, how we make those changes easier. So a lot of my cooking videos are just to try and show people how to use things up. You know, use things that are more seasonal in order to then have it for the other parts of the season. Because for a really long time, I didn't understand the seasons. I didn't understand, you know, that I shouldn't be able to eat pears all year. Shouldn't be able to eat Brussels sprouts all year. So then it's sort of coming up with ways, once you do understand that, and let's say you want to eat pears all year, you need to come up with strategies. If you're wanting to eat more seasonally, you then need to work out how to preserve it, how to have it in your freezer or your pantry or whatever over that time. So for me, that's what preserving is about. That's what that side of things is about. It's about having it for more of the year when I'm trying to eat more seasonally. So I really had to go back to that. I had to go back to what I was trying to share, why I was trying to share it, and why I felt it might be helpful for people. So I guess that was all I was really trying to say today. Just to encourage you to, whenever you are trying to do something that's hard, really go back to why you're trying to do that thing and why you think that it's worth doing. Sometimes it takes being open to being vulnerable in order to do that thing, and then working out whether or not it's worth it for you to do the thing that you think is worth doing and be vulnerable while you do it. Is it worth it for you? And I guess for me, it came out that it was worth doing. And I hope the content that I do for this channel you find helpful. And, you know, even if it helps a couple of people that I wouldn't have normally have touched, then, you know, it's worth it. So thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and I hope it's worth it to you to do the vulnerable thing. Thanks again. I hope I see you again. Bye now.